What's happening, D6? I'm just trying to get Rubik up and the Gamers Galaxy page up as well, and then we can get started. How
Cool.
are you? How's everything been going? He's all doing good.
Yeah, doing good. Just cooking some dinner.
Ooh, what you making?
Lasagna.
You can't beat the lasagna. Now, lasagna's nice. What's going on, Sam and Graslo? How's things, guys?
Hey guys, Happy New Year.
Yeah, likewise, guys. Thanks for having me, and it should be a bit of fun.
Yeah, definitely. So we'll just get retweeting and then let the room fill up a bit, and then we can start. Well, I was thinking I'll make introductions, and then everyone can share about themselves, and then we can work on towards talking about Immutable and the partnerships and stuff like that. So hold on, we got a request. There we Rubik's coming up now. I
Good morning, good evening, fellas. How we all doing?
Good, good. How you doing, bud?
Not too bad, not too bad. Just got in, went out for the family for a little bit, did some very cool mini golf that I've never done before. It was electronically enhanced and had a good time. Had some salmon. Now I'm sitting ready to do a Twitter space.
Nice. Look at you.
Rubik, is there any way you can accept the? I'm trying to invite the Gamers Galaxy page up as a speaker as well, so people can click on it and see if you can accept that.
Got it, mate. It should be good now. Hello, everyone. Thanks for joining us on the show. We'll get going pretty soon, I assume, for our first of 2024 spaces.
Yeah. So hold on. I'll get us started here now. You see the room's filling up a bit. Hold on.
Yeah, so today's going to be just a general introduction to what we're going to do as a team of Gamers Galaxy going forward, why we're doing it, and then pretty quickly after that shift into focusing on Uldor and Graslo and what he's got coming. Some exciting news was just released from their game in a Medium article, which I didn't know about, or not, I assume it's new. So I'll be looking forward to hearing a bit more about that personally for myself as well. I hope everyone else is. It looks pretty exciting. So yeah, that's the general plan for today.
Yeah, so here we go. Welcome, Immutables. Join us, your host Rubik, WT, Desus, and myself from Gamers Galaxies for an exhilarating space call. Today we're diving headfirst into the captivating realms of Immutable X and Web3 gaming. Let's explore the fascinating fusion where unchanging technology meets the innovative world of gaming. Get ready to embark on this cosmic adventure with us. Buckle up and let's commence. So I just wanted to start with a little introduction from everybody. We'll go down through the list, who we are, what our background is, and we'll go from there. So if you want to kick it off, Rubik, go ahead, my man.
Cool. Yeah, I'm a gamer. Been around for ages playing games. Always wondered why I wasn't able to own my stuff, sell my stuff legally. And then I discovered Web3 gaming and landed on Immutable as the platform I believe is leading the way in terms of that property ownership side of things, doing things the right way, doing things for the right reasons. And so here we are building an organization, or a DAO or whatever you want to call it in this world, about just educating people about Immutable and Web3 gaming in general. And yeah, it's slowly building. Got a podcast that goes. We got now these weekly spaces as well with hosting a game building on Immutable at least one each week. And yeah, we'll see what else keeps coming in the future. That's me.
Yeah, and WT.
I am WT. Back in '09, I got laid off for the first time in my life since the age of 15. I'd always been working and I couldn't figure out why I was out of work. So I had 3.5 months of just researching and reading, and I learned about fractional reserve banking, which led me to silver, which in a couple years led me to Bitcoin, and then Bitcoin led me to altcoins, and then altcoins led me to NFTs. And at the same time, I was a gamer, and I was playing a game called Marvel Strike Force, starting to get into content creation. And I noticed that every month I kept putting in money, but every month they would devalue my assets. And that really ticked me off because I was supporting their game, but they kept demonetizing my assets value compared to the new and latest greatest. And it really made me mad. And that's what got me into making NFT gaming content. And along the way, I met some really cool people, including most of you all here. And it's been about almost 3 years later. And here we are on Gamers Galaxie doing a Spaces.
And DCease, what's up, my man?
Yo, what's up? Yeah, I'm D'Souza. Been into NFTs and cryptocurrency probably since 2021-ish, late bloomer, but I've been a gamer all my life. I built my first computer about the age 12 specifically for gaming for Counter-Strike, and haven't looked back since. Just really enjoyed the release and kind of getting out of self to play games and stuff like that. And I saw my kids putting in a bunch of money and stuff into skins and stuff like that, in-game assets, and no real way to monetize that. And took a look at NFTs and Immutable X and what they're doing to own your assets and really give gamers kind of a chance to be able to monetize. You're putting in all this time and effort into leveling up characters and things of that nature. You might as well be able to sell or make some money off of that, and it just makes sense as the next logical step in this evolution of gaming. So that's really what drew me to Immutable X and what they're building there.
Definitely, man. Completely resonate with that as well. And Sam, what's good with you, buddy?
Hey, yeah, again, thanks for having me. I appreciate it. And I guess the quick story is I've been a gamer most of my life. I did the whole RuneScape, World of Warcraft for many, many years. I did a big fan of Age of Empires back in the day. It never really ended. And then in regards to the crypto side of things, I've been in crypto since 2016. Gone through a couple of bull and bear markets. You learn a lot. And yeah, I've been I guess content creation for the last couple of years. I sort of left during the bear market because I knew there wasn't much value to bring. And then as of recent times, I've jumped back on the bandwagon. Always kept up to date with the space every day. You check what's going on Twitter or X. And a huge fan of Immutable and a couple of other projects. I don't really do too many projects. I sort of keep it as a niche thing, under 10 because it's hard to keep up with the space. And, I love what Immutable's doing. I think they're at the forefront of the gaming space and a couple of other projects, but it's going to be exciting 2024 to see how it all plays out.
100%, man. Definitely. It's so hard to keep up with these games. Like, they're coming out on a weekly basis. It's crazy. But yeah, Graslo, what's going on, buddy? Nice to see you again, my man.
Yeah, great to be here. Thanks for having me. So yeah, I'm Graslo, Chris Adcock. I feel like Graslo most of the time, but I'm the founder and CEO of Max Level Studios, and we are building Uldor. My background is so I actually worked in gaming, working at Mythic Entertainment. Started my own company doing consulting and digital marketing. But I mean, I'm a passionate gamer, and especially for like MMOs, but when I got into Web3, I mean, I just became an advocate for Web3 gaming. So I try to do what I can to support other builders, creators, and just connecting to as many people as I can. But I think Web3 is going to be, disruptive for gaming in the benefit of players. And I'm really excited for that. And I'm excited that we're taking a part of that. So, yeah, appreciate you having me.
I suppose it's now my turn. Don't really like talking about myself, but I will. I'm Wanderingale. I'm from the north of Ireland. First got into Immutable. It was with the GameStop partnership. I was one of those pesky Reddit kids from Wall Street Bets that found a love for GameStop, and we've been following that venture for 3 years now, and we're holding hard, and we're fighting the good fight. So, but through that partnership, I found Immutable, and I love what they're doing with the gaming and their with their partnerships, what they've done so far. That's what really sort of opened my eyes on how they're trying to push for this seamless onboarding. Like with their partnerships from Polygon and the Immutable ZK EVM. Sorry, I'm starting to ramble on now, but yeah, I'm just an ordinary dude. I got into crypto with the Immutable partnership. My first cryptos were Loopring and Immutable. So I was usually just a stock trading guy. But yeah, so now I'm here and I'm hosting a space call with a bunch of big brained heads here, and I'm like the ugly stepsister at the side. So nice to have you all here, and let's get going. Really wanted to talk about the partnership, guys. So if you guys want to start on that, go ahead. Let's hear from you, Rubik.
Do you want to start with Graslo, since he's got his time's been valuable set here, and we just focus on Uldor at the start, or do you want to go into the infrastructure side of things first? You're in control.
No, dude, don't make me in control. I'll just burn the house down.
Yeah, I think
But
we've got
yeah,
Graslo.
we
So
can
we're
start
going
with
to
Graslo.
yeah. So yeah, I'm interested to see, like, you joined Immutable, as like you said you're going to build on Immutable back when there was no even ZK EVM thought of it. Are you still building on the StarkEx experience, or are you building on the ZK EVM now? What's the plan with that, with the Immutable partnership?
Yeah, so that's something we're evaluating now. I'll say that because we've kind of done our development in phases, we intentionally have our easiest blockchain integration in the early phases. So we have lots of time to kind of iterate on the more complex blockchain use cases. But for now, we may just do like the standard StarkNet, but we're evaluating the benefits of ZK EVM for now. Versus holding off for later. But I mean, it's exciting just to see the development and to see all the options that are being added to the space, and it doesn't stop. It's like even the stuff that's announced, like you hear about other things being built, and that gets exciting too. But as a founder, like you kind of have to. In such a novel space, you kind of have to build knowing that nothing you build necessarily is going to be permanent. Like you have to kind of plan for evolution, and not know what exactly that's going to look like, but just kind of have the end game of like how you want to benefit players and like what you want the experience and the infrastructure and everything to feel like from the player's perspective. And then the technology just makes that easier or better. And so yeah, that's kind of our thinking for now.
Okay, so is that in terms of any blockchain, or are you talking about just within Immutable itself? Because obviously we're in a really fast adapting and blockchain itself. Back what 12 months was available 12 months ago, when what is available now is just completely worlds apart. So you're looking at the whole. Were you referring to the whole entire blockchain world, or just about Immutable itself?
Yeah, really everything. Because we do watch all the like innovations happening on other chains. Of course, the use cases of like subnets, the ZK VMs, the different smart contract protocols for for various chains that have certain advantages, because it's really looking at the things that you need for your game, and what we so like and just to let you know, like where we are with our game, we're releasing a PvP version in March. And the economy for the PvP is going to be relatively simple. You have these character cosmetics, and that's basically the economy. Players will be able to collect, earn, forge these cosmetics and trade them with other players. But we're also building towards a full MMO, but that's not until next year, and so that's going to have a lot more complexity to the economy. But it's also going to have a lot more needs as far as like the type of assets we need and the type of mechanics we need. Do NFTs change or upgrade? Like, so when we see these like features, and like the account functionality, so there's a lot of moving parts. But I think that that's just the whole ecosystem, and we're just kind of like we're watching that, but not in a way to where you're over iterating. But it's kind of like you're just watching from a distance to see like what works and what doesn't work, what makes the player experience better versus adding too much friction. So it's kind of like you have to play with things and see like what is going to be advantageous for your specific use cases.
Go, Sam.
Yeah. I know a little bit about Uldor, but how does the token play a part in this? Are you releasing a token as well, or are you putting this on hold as the year goes out? And I'm curious because obviously cosmetic skins will be such a big player in your economy. I'm just intrigued to see how the token falls into all of this.
Yeah, so we will have a token. Token will be used for forging skins. So you can collect these skins as an off-chain skin, and that's to really have the easy onboarding. But you can forge those into NFT assets, to where they're in your wallet. You have full transparency and ownership of those. And we also have other use cases for the token we haven't announced yet. But the token is announced. It's not released yet. We have been very careful to not release a token before it has actual utility. That's both for like regulatory reasons, but also because we feel strongly that while it's fine that some people speculate on tokens, some people invest in tokens, but the primary use case of a gaming token should be the game. And what people do with the token is totally up to them. But from our perspective, like we want to release a token with gameplay and game utility for the token, and let the market kind of do its thing. But yeah, we'll be releasing a lot more information about specific use cases for the token.
I think that's a really refreshing take due to everything that the last couple of years, especially with Web3 games, you'll see speculation, the token price goes up and then it dumps and everyone moves on to the next game and then the same thing happens over and over again. So it's refreshing to hear that you guys already are learning from other games. And will you be, switching it back to Immutable, are you trying out Immutable Passport yet? Have you implemented this and the pros and cons of it so far? Has it been difficult or?
So we've tried the passport. It really wasn't difficult. So I, I'd have to talk to my COO about like what his thoughts are on the onboarding experience. But that's something we think about a lot too. Is just like when we add new support for features, is it really helping with the onboarding, or is it adding additional friction or like education on our end? And some of this, like where we are, we're fortunate to kind of watch others try things out a little, sooner than we will. So we kind of have the benefit of learning from our peers. But that's something that we're steadily evaluating, which like if we're going to integrate passport from day one, or if that's something where it's going to be a little down the road.
Let me tell you from a consumer's perspective, Wagmi Games, it had a social login on it. Also, I'm in the beta, and it had a social login. It wasn't passport. It was easy to get a login. There was an A4 page, about 3 pages long, on how to connect your wallet to your mobile game. And when I followed it, it didn't work. Couldn't be bothered. Didn't sell any NFTs. Since they've gone to passport, which was just about a week ago, it just converted all my stuff over to passport, and I can log into Token Trove and sell all my NFTs with the exact same login as the game, and their sales have gone from, with just 1,500 players, have gone from $100,000 in a couple of weeks to just in 1 week to $550,000, $600,000, just because of the friction it does remove. It's absolutely game changing for anyone that decides to implement it from, and there's the evidence already. So it's just one game that's benefited greatly from the passport.
That's great insight there, and I know the Wagner Games team well. They are really smart guys, and that's one of the teams that we watch to get to, because they're a little further ahead with us, and so we get to kind of like watch them experiment. Of course, we have a lot of plans and things that we don't think have been done yet, but we do have the benefit of being able to see some things tried out a little before we get there. And that's what's great about this space, is like that we're all kind of working together. And we're all experimenting, and I feel like we're all early as well. Like we have not seen mass adoption yet. While the space is growing, it is definitely not growing like it will be probably mid to late this year. I think it's going to explode this year. We're going to see so many people onboarded, and that's when we're going to really start stress testing everything. Everything that we're using, individual games, blockchains. We're going to see like who's got issues with gas prices spiking or blockchains crashing. We're going to start to see just anything that can break will break, but it's going to be really helpful to see what's sustainable and what works and what doesn't work.
On the topic of sorry, WT, on the topic of onboarding and it being a bit slower, I think that has a lot to do with the number of playable games and what state they're in. On that topic, it looks like you guys are going to be doing like a PvP arena type release sometime this year. It looked like, I think in the Medium article it mentioned March. You might have something. Can you tell us a little bit more about that and how that's going?
Yeah, so that's going to be our first commercial launch. It'll probably be a very late stage beta, so it'll be something we'll be actively promoting because it'll be in a really good state in March, is where we anticipate. So we're going to start to market that mode. We're going to be pushing that out not just to the Web3 audience, but also getting good metrics from Web2 channels as to what our user acquisition costs are, what do those conversions look like, and once those players get in the game, like what are they spending, and just how they compare to like the traditional like Web3 audience who are more like most of us in the space are probably a lot more crypto educated. We're a lot more comfortable using wallets and acquiring crypto and using NFTs and things like that. So there's definitely going to be something to see once we start seeing mass onboarding and players are jumping in and learning things very quickly in a space that has evolved very quickly, to be able to see how best to handle those players and from our case like monetize those players and keep them engaged in our ecosystem. But yeah, March is where that first commercial launch is going to be, and we're excited to be able to actually do real marketing, because I totally agree. Like the biggest problem with onboarding has not been blockchain and crypto and all these things. I mean, there is friction there, but the reality is the games are just not ready yet. Like we don't have games that are as fun or better than Web2 games, and at that quality and the place. There's a lot of games being built, and there's a lot of like betas out there and demos and things. Most of those are like early betas or alphas even, or just mini games and things like that. Like our game that's out today is really just a mini game. We've spent nothing on marketing. It's all been organic, and thanks to relationships that we have in the space. But we know that we don't want to spend money on it because it is not something where it's going to onboard and retain mass amounts of mainstream gamers. But that is going to be our PvP mode, and so that's what we're really looking forward to.
I was able to jump in Spike's Discord the other day, and you were there. There was a tournament going on, and they were using your game Uldor. Right off the bat, what jumped out to me was your ability to set up a tournament just on the PvE standpoint alone seemed very, very promising. are you guys going to lean heavy on like having some tournaments structured with possibly some sponsors? And do you guys have some sponsors lined up maybe to maybe facilitate that while you're building?
Yes, that's exactly the reason that we built in the tournament system like we did. For one, it lets us do tournaments for onboarding, so we can do a tournament with a prize pool, promote that, get some new people in the game. But it also enables creators like Spike and others to host tournaments, gaming guilds to host tournaments, and for us to do tournaments with partners. So like the way we did our featured tournaments is like the whole tournament screen can change, so we can have branding there. If we did a tournament with GameStop, I mean, you can have a big GameStop logo, and so it can be very integrated in the game. And so that's something that we thought would be a great use case. But players can go create their own tournaments, and so that's something we wanted to be very unrestricted, to allow for these nascent communities to use our game to social. Because I know a lot of games are still in the unplayable phase, and they're building communities. In some cases, they have thousands of people in their community, and they do game nights, and they're playing Fortnite, and they're playing all these Web 2 games, which is great. But if you want to play some Web 3 games, like, we want to be one of those options where you can jump into Uldor while you're waiting for the game that you guys are working on to be fully fleshed out. And we've been, like, some teams keep a lot internal, and like maybe they'll show some dev videos and things, but they don't like to push things out that aren't ready. And I totally understand that. But I have the background of like gaming, really like small studios and like small tech startups, and so like I have this kind of philosophy of ship fast. I've seen people build a game for 5 years and then have to shut down because they either run out of money or there's technical challenges that they can't outpace the technology. Maybe the engine is upgrading faster than they can develop the game. Whatever the problem is, they can't make it. And so my philosophy is like, get your game out there as fast as possible. I mean, yes, it needs to be fun. It needs to be high quality. People can't have a terrible experience with it. But even if it's early, get something out there to where you can start to build a community around it. You can start to get valuable feedback. It's basically like free play testers. And yes, paid play testers are irreplaceable. You can't replace those with just a community, but you still get really valuable feedback early on. And so that's been another kind of mantra of ours is release content. So we got out there ahead of a lot of games that have raised a lot of money, and so we were really lucky with that, and it also helped us with marketing and branding too, because a lot of creators, they want to play games, and they can't just talk about NFTs all the time. So or read white papers. That was all the early Web3 gaming videos, was creators reading over white papers. But now they can actually play games, and so we're glad to be one of those.
With that new medium that came out with all those new game modes, like, painted a bit more picture for what's coming. Did I read that right, thinking it sounded a bit like Guild Wars style game?
Yeah.
Like, is it?
So you're referring to our faction mode, I think,
I
which
mean, it's like
is.
in Guild Wars, there's a PVE and it's an action based rather than target based, and it's a lot of fighting other factions and individuals as well. So is it going to be a big world like that where it's like a Guild Wars style world, or is it more in different sections?
Yeah, no, it's more like a Guild Wars style. So we have a PvP area where there are three factions. So when you enter the PvP area, it's open PvP, and there's three factions that are fighting over territory. But when you leave the PvP area, you're in the PvE, unflagged area, and that's the style that we're really going for. A type of game where you can kind of find these challenging and competitive experiences, or you can kind of find a more casual path. Now, of course, we're drawing inspiration from like Souls-like genres, so it's not going to be super casual at any stage, but there's going to be lots of ways that you can go and go on an epic adventure with a friend, and not have to necessarily worry about someone way higher level than you sneaking up on you and killing you while you're trying to defeat a boss or something. when you're not in the PvP area. That's just not what we were going for. But yeah, we do have like competitive PvP with our tournaments, which we knew that was going to be a mode that we could release early and get that competition, and be able to build a community around the game. And then we're adding so our next mode after that is the faction PvP, which is it's a persistent world. So think MMO, but it's just limited to the PvP zone. So you don't have all those cities, you don't have all the questing and crafting and things. It's really the PvP from the tournaments, but in this persistent world, and players are fighting over territory. So your faction fights to take enemy territory. Once you capture territory, you can build up fortifications to defend the territory, and these NPCs man those fortifications. Then you can craft siege weapons to go and attack enemy fortifications and capture more territory. If you hold certain territory, you'll be able to unlock special shops that sell unique items, and also special dungeons that have bosses with unique loot. So there's different rewards for holding this territory. But yeah, that's kind of our process of developing in phases, all towards the goal of the MMO, which it opens up the open world, expanding beyond just the PvP zone into all the PvE content. So cities, questing, more dungeons, the crafting system, so much more like social engagement. But we thought that this was a way that not only allowed us to go to market so much faster than competing kind of MMOs, but it's also just a better way to build an MMO. And it's also one that kind of redefines the model. And I don't want to like go off on a big tangent if you guys aren't super into like MMOs, but like the biggest problem with MMOs is that the model is upside down in today's market. When you start at level 1 and you're killing boars for dozens or hundreds of hours, like to level up to the point where your friend is, and they're at the end game, trying to get the end game loot or the end game gear. That's not a great experience for gamers who could just jump into a MOBA and play, competitive gameplay and replayable gameplay from day one. So where we think that we do this better is having that PvP system that's, really user friendly. Like you can jump into it from, right away. It's not gated by the leveling process. And then if you like the gameplay and you're having fun with the competitive part, you can jump into the complete chaos of the faction mode, where it's this unstructured PvP that's really reliant on you telling your friends to all jump in the game and go on this big attack to attack fortification. Or you can slow the pace down and say, I want to go on this quest to kill this like rare boss that's off in one of these world bosses that maybe drops this epic loot, and I'm going to gather up some buddies and we're going to go on this epic adventure together. So it kind of like slows down the pace instead of you rushing to get to the end of an MMO so that you get to the same place that everybody else is, and then you just wait for the next content drop. We kind of make the MMO or the open world more like Skyrim or other kind of large games that you play at your own pace, and you feel like you want to experience every inch of it. It's not something you want to rush through.
Yeah, I was getting Elder Scrolls vibe from that, definitely, because I love that game. That's like one of my top 10 games, is like Elder Scrolls. So I'm very excited to see and play Uldor. That sounds friggin' awesome, man.
So you guys have your first NFT. It's on actually layer 1, right? So do you when do you plan to be releasing like your next kind of drop type thing on Immutable?
So we are anticipating March with our PvP. Just before that, we'll be releasing some like promo content for some early collectible skins, so that to kind of drive some interest and get people excited and get some early rewards out there. And we'll be doing that a few weeks at least before our launch. It's possible that we do something before that, but that's the plan currently.
Is it free to play? I don't know enough, to be honest.
Yes, yeah, everything's free to play. We plan to monetize through royalties from the NFT sales. Like that's our primary method of monetization. We do have a token launched as well. I mean, a token launch plan, and we think we'll get some revenue from that. But yeah, we think aligning ourselves with players, you know, where we make money when you're trading NFTs, that's going to serve us better and serve the players better.
Definitely. So, do you guys have any more questions for Graslo about Uldor, or we can move on to Immutable?
Does Graslo have anything else you want to add about the game? What's exciting for any, you know, how to get in touch with you, or if there's anything you want to alpha us with, you know, we would, you know, welcome you to drop the alpha. Go for it.
Yeah,
Yeah, give
sure.
us the
So
alpha, Graslo.
we did post a trailer in November, like at the end of November, early December, or teasing our next update, which is the Dread Arena remastered. So the Dread Arena is like this early game mode we have, but we are releasing an update very soon, probably in the next couple of weeks. That's going to add a lot of content. It's going to drastically improve combat, and we already get reviews like combat is really good, but like we keep iterating because we're going for perfection, and so yeah, we're moving towards that like PvP content. So yeah, watch the trailer. That'll kind of tease what we're working on, but we love feedback. So if you want to play the game, if you have any, like if you've played like Souls like games like Elden Ring, you'll get a real familiar feel with the combat and movement. But we're definitely also drawing inspiration from like Elder Scrolls, Dark Age of Camelot, a number of other games that have more like realm versus realm combat experiences too. But yeah, appreciate you guys having me. I'll always
I got
love.
another question
Yeah,
before you
yeah,
go, if you don't mind, if you got time.
yeah, yeah.
Sorry to cut you off. In like when I played the early version of your Dread Arena, it was just a one character, all the same moves, and you know, obviously that has it runs out of time if someone wants to continue to play that. Is it got more? Is it going to have classes with different classes have different capabilities? Is that going to be tied to gear? Like, how's that system going to work? I assume there's going to be different combat capabilities for different players.
Yes. So we've actually added characters now. So there are 4 playable characters, and each has some different stats and abilities and weapons. So each has a weapon path where you can get up to their 3 weapons to choose from. And I encourage you to like try those out, like especially Jinku and Larina. They're my 2 favorite. They have really cool weapon animations. But we are adding a class system to give players ability to train and unlock, you know, specific abilities and to really hone their play style to the character that they like, you know. And so that's something that we think is going to add a lot of fun to the PvP aspect. But for now, we have these 4 characters that kind of like preset abilities, and you know, with our the way we added our special abilities, instead of adding them as a class, we, because we're adding them kind of iteratively, we decided to put them in the game mode as a reward. So, you know, this was probably like this when you played, where after each wave, you get a random reward, and it may be an ability. So this, you know, has a special attack and special animation and VFX and everything. But then you also be able to get stat upgrades, elixirs, things like that, weapons. So yeah, that's the way the game is now, but the PvP will have like a full class system as well.
Yeah, major shout out to you guys as well, putting gameplay first and not, you know, chasing like you know, monetary clout with token releases and things like that. A lot of other projects have done, and really focusing on that and how you're gonna better the environment and experience for the gamers and communities that are supporting you guys. So huge props to you guys for that.
Yeah, 100% agree with the Zeus on that. You guys are being smart, strategic, learning from the mistakes of the past, and taking the right steps. I like what I see.
Also, like the graphics update that you've come up with in the screenshots you've played. Like, is that Unreal Engine 5.5 something, or what is it? Unreal? It looks like an Unreal Engine game.
Yeah, so the current version is Unreal Engine 5.1, but I'll tell you, like Unreal they are killing it. They're really going to change the game. We have versions of our game in Unreal 5.2 and 5.3 to take advantage of various upgrades that they've added recently. They're still both kind of experimental, and like we can't release those publicly because it breaks some other things. But I mean, it is fun playing with the latest of Unreal Engine because they're adding some crazy stuff. And I'll tell you, like open world games, like when I talk to people building, they say, well, Unreal Engine 5 is so buggy. I'm still building in 4.62 or whatever from years ago. And I'm just looking at these open world features that Unreal Engine has added in as recent as 5.3, which was just like a month ago, and it's crazy the advancement we're getting. Like they're pushing for like metaverse support features. So people building MMOs and like metaverse experiences. That's what the latest Unreal updates are going for, and it's really helping us on the dev side to be able to build so much faster than we would have before.
It's awesome.
Right. Thanks for coming on today, Graslo. I appreciate your time, and looking forward to seeing that faction-based battle get launched later on this year, and that'll be one that gets me to maybe get a Gamers Galaxie guild going in it.
Definitely, I'd be down for that, Rubik. You can call me your lieutenant. It'll be a good one.
I'm hopeless at games, mate. I'll be the half-time orange pill provider, mate.
Or I can be the medic or something. We'll see. We'll work something out. But yeah, well, so we'll get into Immutable, guys. So hopefully it doesn't go like like the podcast last night that went on for 3 hours, which was great, man. I think it sort of knocked my sickness out of me, to a sense, sort of dusted off my cobwebs. But yeah, so what do you guys think of these partnerships that we've seen on the last year, and how monumental is it going to be for Web3 going forward? So you want to start us off, Rubik?
But yeah, some context to that comment you made is we planned a opening podcast that the four of us got together, and 1 hour for talking about the year in review, and and 1 hour for talking about the future of Immutable, and 3 hours 50 minutes. We'd only just finished the first half of the podcast of the year in review, so we didn't realize how much was really going on in Immutable. So we just thought, this space, like what we took away from that discussion was that it's coming. The jigsaw pieces are coming together for Immutable. Zeke, like they're doing things different to every single other chain that's building for gaming. They've got their vision and they're sticking to it. And it's more about the building for the mainstream, building for ease, for security first, ease of building, and as Graslo said, the capability to, the criticism they've had in the past is the Stark X implementation was very Web 2.5, and it was all API driven. You had to build lots of backend code to, in AWS or in the cloud, non-blockchain, to get what you wanted done. And they paid the price for that a bit. And now, 12 months ago, they pivoted to ZK EVM, and that's coming this month. Well, they've said it. I've heard about 5 or 6 people say it's definitely coming in January. So software can be delayed for many reasons, as anyone that builds code knows. But my prediction is the 30th of Jan. That's Tuesday, the 30th of Jan is when it's going to get launched. And then that's when we see those pieces of the puzzle get, they've been building all these partnerships that'll let you guys talk about and, come to fruition. And we'll see Immutable. What people will start to see what us four have been so excited about and why we've built a community based just on Immutable, when other chains look like they're going to win right now. But we can tell you now that Immutable will be, if not the top player, one of the big players.
I mean, well said. I'm intrigued to ask anyone who sort of wants to have an input here. Currently, obviously, all of us know, and probably a lot of people in the audience here, we know Immutable has like 200 plus games coming out. 50s to 70% of them are coming out over the next, probably 6 to 8 months, sometime within the year. Does anyone see a world where, obviously there's other chains that are growing really well? I know I won't name any specific chains or anything, and I know some people are fans of different chains and not others. But I think from my perspective, I just want Web3 games to win, so I can get to a point where I'm going to go game, or like I'm going to go play this game where I don't have to go. I'm going to go play this Web3 game, and just becomes a natural thing that you own your assets in game. But I'm intrigued to see what you guys think when Immutable does start coming out with all these games over this next period. Do you see a world where these other chains start losing, I guess, market share, but also the user bases come over, and then you see how these other chains start to struggle? They're trying to capture more of the market and probably not be as successful because their games aren't as high as quality as what Immutable is. So I'm intrigued to see what everyone's thoughts are on the next sort of 6 to 8 months with that playing out.
I think from the Web3 crowd, you probably will see minimal impact of them coming over. Especially publicly, they won't. But they are a different breed where they want to stay in their own silos because it benefits their bags. And I think the long-term vision of Immutable is to get just the foot in the door of the mass adoption of the 3 billion plus gamers. So is that this year? I'm not really sure, but I think eventually we see those numbers come in because Immutable's laying the infrastructure down and they're trying to get the collabs and the networks together to go at it together. And that's the different strategy with Immutable. They want to do this together with the quality people in this space, whereas other networks, they're trying to do it alone. And that's the difference with Immutable. So if they can get those connections together and market it properly, yes, maybe we see an increase and influx into the Immutable system. But publicly, I don't think we see it from the Web3 space because they want to hold on to the old way of let's keep our silos so that we can pump our coin and play the degen role. And that's not what Immutable does.
Yeah, I 100% agree. Like you have these, certain chain maxis and things like that, where they're definitely in it for where they put their money or their investments, right? And you know, based off of what I've seen from Immutable and what their ecosystem is, a lot of the focus is about the games and the gamers, and not the traditional DeFi kind of crowd. As a matter of fact, there's not even an exchange, right? So until like Warpgate and like QuickSwap, until the actual release of the ZK EVM, will we actually have an exchange? And also with the checkout mechanism that's built into the Immutable Passport. So there's no sense in trying to focus on trying to get I guess some of the other chain maxis to I guess see the light, if you will, because if they haven't seen it already, then they're not really gamers, I would say. And I think that with focusing on bringing more of the traditional Web 2 gamers into the Web 3 ecosystem is where we will see more traction, right? Because once those gamers see something that's worth playing and that's playable for hundreds of hours, that they can make content on, that they can actually do more than one like review video on, then that's where we see the traction actually happen. There have been games that have already really started to thrive and done in real life events, right? So some of those games have actually set the records for transactions on Immutable already, right? And that's where things I feel are actually going to take off is when we have, you know, gamers that have dedicated, you know, hundreds, if not thousands of hours into games to perfect these things, to create content, to be able to show up to in real life events and do these types of events, and there's prize pools, and you see it too with you know, some of the esports teams that are getting involved with early rounds of like Illuvium and Guild of Guardians and things like that. um, it sets the precedent. It sets the stage for that type of gamer to get involved as those games go live over the next 6 to 8 months, like you said, Sam. So I think that's really, I think, the focus of trying to bring Web3 gaming mainstream is to kind of take out the fact that it's Web3 gaming. Just that when people start calling Web3 gaming gaming, is when we can start to say, hey, we're actually gaining some traction here. We're gaining some credence to what we've been saying that is the future, right? And until that happens, um, you know, we're kind of still at a disadvantage.
Yeah, go ahead, Rubik. Sorry.
No, I was just going to say that I think that with ZK EVM there'll be more room for degen style games to come out, and if they're they pass quality assurances with the blacklist whitelist capability of ZK EVM rather than the permissionless. With it being a more traditional chain, Ethereum equivalent. You will see a lot more potentially a lot more games come out that will meet that criteria of play and earn kind of style, and it won't be limited. But that hasn't been what Immutable's focused on. And the mass adoption is obviously going to come from Asia first, and that's why we've seen Immutable focus on the Asian market for the last 6 months. And half the games they announce are studios in Korea, Japan, China. Since that push, and the players, the players' numbers in Asia are growing so fast. So I think we'll see mass adoption this year, but it'll be at the end of the year, and it'll be with games that are frictionless, don't require you to know anything about blockchain, even though you might know there's a blockchain in the game, but you don't need to know anything about blockchain, and that's what Immutable's built. It's what no one else has built yet. There's people have built parts of this, but not what when ZK EVM launches from day one. You can release your game, and your customers do not need to know anything about blockchain at all to play the game, and that's the future, and that's where if ultimately, if the future of Web3 stays the same in its only degens that play it, it's not Web3 gaming is not going to last. You need to be able to get billions of players, or at least 100 million players in a game to consider yourself a hit. Like maybe 15, 20 million players to be a hit. So, right now there's not that many players. So you can sit there and spruik all your daily active stats right now, but they're nothing in the pool of gaming. Absolutely nothing. So you can focus on that and think that's your selling point. If it is, you're going to lose pretty hard.
100%. Go ahead, Sam. Sorry, buddy.
No stress, my man. I just wanted to add some notes that maybe some people might not know this, and the things sort of behind closed doors. But I've spoken to different chains over the last couple of months, and just to give perspective of where Immutable X is thinking and where they're at. Like if you look at Solana as an example, I'm a huge fan of what they're doing. Fast transactions and everything else. There's no support from Solana team itself. There's no devs trying to help them out. There's no legal framework trying to help gamers or developers build. Whereas as soon as you speak to an Immutable team or anyone from that team, they're all willing to help. Hey, if you need any of our legal team here, use it at your own, whenever you need it. Hey, what do you need from us? We'll help you. Hey, marketing side, yes, this is what we did. Here's some data. Whereas other chains aren't really doing that. And I think that's why you see the statistics are 70% of all games at the moment are basically building on Immutable for a reason. So just what they're offering and what they're doing for the devs is pretty much why you're seeing this happen at the moment. And I think this will only expand further. And again, once you get that network effect over the next sort of 6 months, you'll get gamers in. You'll then where does everyone go? Like, why is everyone playing, as an example, Fortnite? Because their friends are there, or they know someone who's playing this game. The same thing will happen with Immutable. Yes, there's no daily active users or like crazy monthly active users or anything like that right now, but there's no games out. So once all these games come out, you'll see a network effect. You'll see everyone go, oh, well, shit, everyone's over here, so I better be over here. And I think there'll be a few chains that'll last. But again, just to go back, it's like just the support they're offering is just second to none from what I'm hearing.
Yeah, and,
You
and
know,
to build on that point too is like they, the partnerships that they've kind of solidified, right, with Beam or Merit Circle, right? Like that's a bunch of gamers, and they're just kind of all waiting to be able to play the games, right? And as these games come out, as the stuff actually starts to come to fruition and allows them to say, hey, this is a game I want to tell my friends about, then you're going to see all of that momentum like actually mean something, right? And right now, I think it's a lot of I know it is. It's a lot of speculation, right? It's, hey, is this token or is this whatever, is this NFT collection gonna moon? And that degen attitude of like, is it gonna make me rich? And that that's not what the typical gamer is worried about. I know, like with my kids, they're not worried about, hey, is this skin that I just purchased in Fortnite gonna gonna moon? No, because they're not selling them, right? So that that whole idea of am I gonna get rich quick, as a typical gamer, is not there. So looking forward to the future of all of these things like Wolves DAO and Xborg and all of these different groups of gamers, basically. Um, they're just kind of in waiting, right? And I think that some of the stuff, like from other chains, like when they realize that, like, hey, no one is building on our chain because they don't have the support that Immutable provides, they'll realize that, like, hey, this doesn't seem like something worth waiting for, and they might come over and say, hey, I'm going to take a look at it, because all of the stuff that they put in place makes it so much easier for them to do that, with the passport, with the gas free gaming environment. They're not having to worry about um, onboarding grips of cryptocurrency to be able to even play a game. Like Graslo was saying earlier, a lot of this stuff is free to play to start with. Only when you get into the depths of playing to forge certain things will you even need to use crypto. And even then, partnerships with payment solutions that Immutable's made, that you don't necessarily even have to pay with crypto. You can use your card, right? Or you can use your ATM, debit card, right? And that's something that's huge, because it gets rid of that friction again of, hey, can I even buy crypto in my state or whatever, or in my territory, my country? It makes it that much more seamless, so that people don't go like, hey, why is it asking for my social security number when I just want to buy a freaking skin? That's not something that gamers want to do. So looking into the future, this is why they're going to come to Immutable. This is why they're going to come to these games that make it that much easier to have fun and look good doing it, right?
I just want to clarify something as well. Like Sam said, 70% of games, that's been misinterpreted, or Robbie said it wrong somewhere. What he was referring to was, in 2022, all the funding from VCs was allocated to the games and where they were building, and 35% each were building on Polygon and Immutable. And when they joined forces, it became they had 70% of funding. Not of all games. Lots of games have their own funding. Lots of games don't have any funding, or they're self-funded. So it's not 70% of all games in crypto that are building on Immutable. It's from 2022. 70% of all VC funding games were building. The funding percentage was building on Immutable, and going in 2023, it's been 60% of the BD efforts that they've made. So not all games, the games they've actively tried to bring to the platform, they've won 60%. So yeah, just so that people don't go quote that and call Robbie Ferguson Trevor Milton again.
Thank you, sir, for clearing that up.
Yeah, but I mean, that's no small feat, first of all. And second of all, if you got that kind of money flowing in, it's going into games, which is a pretty big impact. So it's a technicality to me. I know how people like to latch on that. But I want to jump back to Sam's point. He eloquently put it, and I love hearing him say that about the support that Immutable provides. And I like Solana. I don't have a problem with Solana. I think they're doing a lot of great things. They have some amazing applications coming out, and I think they're great for the space. And I like what Avalanche is doing. I think the difference with Immutable is they are ahead of the curve on everybody. And the strategy that the Ferguson brothers are using is and this is just my opinion of what I'm looking at, what they're doing overall. They want to be game publishers first, and a very, very close second. They want to attract the volume to their platform. That's their two major goals. Everything else is, if they can take care of it in-house easily, they do it. If not, they subcontract it out to the most qualified third-party organization out there to take care of it for them. And in my perception, they want to become like Amazon. And why I say that is, like, let's say you are I'm just using this just to be funny. Let's say you're an awesome shoe cobbler, but you have no tech experience at all, but you make the best cobbled shoes of all time, but you have a hard time selling them. What do? You go to Amazon, and Amazon has all the tech tools in place that you don't need. Yes, you have to pay them a fee to get their assistance, but they get your awesome cobbled shoes out there for everyone to buy, and you become famous as the best shoe cobbler of all time. I know that's being ridiculous, but I'm just trying to get the point across of what Amazon does. That is what Immutable wants to do for gaming. They have a publishing side to help you with games, and they want to attract the volume in a frictionless ecosystem to just get you out there. And that's what they're trying to do. And they've been doing that for years, laying in the infrastructure and the pipes. And that's why they're ahead of everybody right now. So I totally agree and appreciate Sam's comments of the support that Immutable is giving to the ecosystem.
I just want to jump in there, just to build off what you guys were saying. Like, it doesn't really, like, once, like, mass adoption, once it occurs, all chains win. But Immutable set up in a way that when these people, like ordinary gamers, come in, it's going to be easy for them. So I believe that most of the volume will come to Immutable because it's set up in the way for traditional gamers to just jump in, turn the game on, here we go, let's go. So that's my take on it. It's they are set up in a way that they can take advantage of it, while other chains are not set up in that way just yet. But yeah, I have King down there with his hand up. If he wants to speak, go ahead, bud.
Hey guys, I whoever was speaking last, I kind of want to say you kind of hit the nail on the head. I'm not a game. My product is just basically I'm a Dex and I'm a launchpad. So if you want to launch your token on Immutable, hit me up in the DMs. I've had meetings with IMX lawyers and have meetings with IMX product team. They have no interest in doing DeFi. They don't have no interest in doing a DEX. They have no interest in doing a loan pad or anything. You know why? Because those things bring issue. If you have a question about how to launch a smart contract, you hit them up. That's about it. They will not, and for my product, love those guys. They will not give a grant, right? Because that's not what they do. They are for games. Simple as that. If you want to build on their product, you're welcome to. They're like Amazon, like you exactly said. So that's all I have to say. And again, if you guys are launching a game or if you guys launching anything on IMX, hit me up and I'll gladly work with you. Thank you. If you guys have any questions for me,
No one knows who you are yet, King. I'll do an introduction for you. I'm not even sure if our panel know who you are. You're building Warpgate, probably the first DEX to launch on ZK EVM. So yeah, that's who, everyone. I think you can go check out if you've got the UI UX working now, that people can go check it out.
yeah. The link is on my website, on my bio. Sorry, yeah.
Yeah.
I just want to step in because like you were hitting the nail on the head. Like when people keep on asking me why IMX don't do this, why IMX don't do that, I'm like, their lawyers are pretty straight with me when I talk to them. Yeah, we never met in person. I'm just a guy on the internet, you know. But you're welcome to check out the website. Give me some feedback. Um, we are on testnet already. So your passport does work. It's pretty cool. As you mentioned before, I was just sitting in my chair coding, and I heard what you were saying, and I was like, "Yo, I need to get up here."
Thank you for supporting our firsthand. Like we're sitting here talking anecdotally and giving our perceptions and that, and then we have you that's actually worked with a team coming up to say to give us that oomph behind our words that what we're saying is true. So yeah, thank you very much, King. Appreciate that.
No problem. You mind if I just stay? If you guys have any questions, I'll just be quiet. You know.
Yeah, sure.
No, see, definitely, man. I'm sorry. I should have accepted you up earlier. I didn't realize who you were. Sorry, man. Thank you for coming up, though, and dropping that knowledge on us. Thank you very much, man. So yeah, if you guys want to continue on, what else? What was I saying? I lost my train of thought now.
ZK EVM.
Yeah.
Let's talk about that. I've had my opinion. Let's all have a guess. When's it getting released? I've said the 30th of November. Sorry, January. What does everyone else? Come on, D'Souza, the master guesser. You got actual
I
testnet.
was waiting.
Exactly right.
I was waiting for that. Yeah, I think we release by about the 16th or 17th of this month. I think they do another mid-month release.
I'll say the 15th or 18th.
I'll say the 17th.
You can't. 15,
I told
16,
my
17.
guys a week and like 3 days from now, so I hope I'm not under or over.
Week? Wow.
They were. It was meant to be
said
the
a
end of
week
the
and 3
year, right?
days.
Last year.
Sorry?
It was meant to be Q4, wasn't it? At the last year, wasn't it?
Yeah, I think they missed the Q4 thing.
Yeah.
But it's
Yeah.
been January for a long time now.
Oh, okay. Well, then, look, as long as it's in January, February, it doesn't really phase me, to be fairly honest with you.
Sitting on the fence, eh? DJ Sandon sitting on the fence.
Just in the middle, being that safe person, you know?
Yeah. Anyway, ZKVM, I don't think people understand how, like, we're sitting here saying that Immutable's in front, and leading the way, but it doesn't have its main chain out yet. That's the crazy thing. Like, as soon as it lands, all this stuff they've built is live from day one. It's not like they're going to phase stuff in. There might be some lacking in features that need to be added to these things, but the actual core of the mainnet is going to be able to launch with games. I believe Metalcore will launch live with ZKEVM when it goes live. Does anyone else have anything to add on that?
I agree. I think Metalcore will be up first. Justin Hulog came out and hinted pretty heavily that would be the first one out.
Were Metalcore the first ones to implement the passport as well?
Nah, that was WAGME, I think, right? I think it was WAGME had passport first.
Oh, okay. I thought it was Metalcore for some reason.
Hold up, I'm not the product guy, but I can tell you. Give me one moment. I'll tell you who I know for sure is launching as well. There.
Oh, Alpha.
Carverse Metalcore. I have talked to them. Guild of Guardians. We have done that. And sorry, Shardbound. I'm not the product guy. So, but yeah.
What was that first one you said? Something verse?
Kiraverse.
Curaverse.
Sound like
Curaverse, yeah.
Cureverse. Oh wow.
Yeah, yeah,
Kiraverse.
yeah.
Oh, really?
Yeah. Their CEO is an advisor for my product. So they are very interested in launching right away.
Awesome.
What we got next?
Hold
I
on,
think we nailed that. We nailed that one pretty good. What we got next?
yeah. We got Action CEO came up with requesting to speak. So what's up, my man?
All right. There we go. King, you don't have WAGME getting listed on the decks?
I tell people, hit me up. I'm actually willing to pay for an introduction. I'm dead ass serious. I'm sorry for my language.
We're homies. I'll get you in contact with those guys.
No. You can get paid. I'm liquid.
I do actually, but yeah, like these guys talking about WAGME, I just realized like it was like last we talked, he didn't mention them. So yeah, I'm gonna make that happen. I'll get that call going
Okay.
this week.
Okay,
That is
cool.
the best thing I've ever heard, King. You know I'm liquid.
No, I'm
Are
not
we
right.
watching? Are we watching a deal go down live on our first episode, or
No.
what is going on?
I'll straight up. I'll straight up tell anyone here. Uh, Basically, if you can make an introduction, with me, we don't even, yeah, make an introduction, and if I can happen to close them to launch a token, I will gladly reimburse you to some extent. Simple as that.
It doesn't hurt the fact that your win rate when it comes to trading is off the charts too.
Yeah.
Hey,
We don't talk
Graslo,
about that. I'm a coder.
Graslo, I'm introducing you to King right now. So once you close with him, let me know.
Yeah.
Do we need to
Yeah.
change the name of our game as Galaxy to Token Galaxy or something? Because I told you that with ZK EVM comes the degen side of Immutable. I did say that about half an hour ago.
So if you want the degen side of Immutable, my launchpad is completely open, so you can launch anything there, technically speaking. So when I mean this hit me up, is just that I don't want degen shit all over. Sorry for my language. I don't want like random Ponzi or bad stuff that can hurt people. So when I say hit me up, I don't know all these thousands of games. I just want to be able to give you like a verification badge. And like that's basically what I'm asking for you to hit me up. Yeah. So like when you see have you guys ever seen a launchpad before? Sorry.
No, I haven't.
We're gamers, mate. Honestly, this has gone a
Okay.
little bit.
So okay.
Left me
Let me
with,
Launch
okay,
pads,
let
man.
me
You put money in there, and then you get tokens, and it puts more money out than you
Yeah.
put in. It's beautiful.
Okay, yeah. So basically, a launch pad. If a game wants to launch a token, um, they probably won't do a direct sale. They usually go through some launch pad mechanism, so they understand what's the value of their token based off of their community, and that's what a purpose of a launch pad is. Since we have a DEX, it makes total sense for us to have a launch pad, so a place where you can get initial funding for the token or project, and then a place where you can also trade that product. So that's the point of a launch pad. We have made it open source, so basically, what's it called? From day one when we launch, I don't know if for example, if Action wants to launch Action Game Token, he's welcome to, but since it would have to pass my scrutiny test, so it would not have a verification
It wouldn't
badge.
pass. I'd rug people, man. That's not happening.
Exactly. So it would have a warning associated with it. So that's what I'm saying. If like I can't, I'm gonna admit like I'm a Web 2 gamer. I've played some Web 3 games. I don't know all of the ones that's built on Immutable. So I just ask people to hit me up so I know they're legit. That's basically it.
So what? It's like a Dex tool sort of thing.
Um, it's a Dex, yes, and it's also a launch pad as well.
Okay, I think I get you.
Yeah.
Cool. Moving on to the next subject. It was good to have you here, King, and talk about your product. I've been promising that I'm going to look at the product, the warp gate side of things. I will get around to that shortly. But in terms of Immutable, I think we'll wrap this up pretty soon, unless someone's got something else to wanted to talk about today in terms of the game side of things.
I think everything's been sort of covered, but if you guys have anything else to say, speak now, or we'll start doing closing thoughts.
I'll go first here. I just want to thank Wanderingale for setting this up for us and everybody that's been participating. It's our first one. We're hammering out some kinks here. We want to make this an ongoing thing, just to represent Immutable and the community that's out there, and to get the information out there, because there is a ton. We really realized it last night when we were making our year in review. We thought we knew how much there was, and it was like, oh my gosh, this is way more than we thought it was. And this year is supposed to be even crazier. So we want to be here to cover it for you guys and provide as much intel and resources for the community. So we will be trying to kick these spaces out more often and more podcasts. So any of your Immutable needs, dial into us, hit that like button, repost it for us, comment, help us with the algorithm to spread it out to everybody. And yeah, thanks for attending. We appreciate it.
Yeah, on that note, I went ahead and put up the next Game Roots Galaxie space that we're having next week with Kieran Warwick, one of the co-founders of Illuvium. He'll be on next week. We'll talk a bunch about what's coming up in Illuvium this year. And again, thank you so much for Graslo and coming on and talking about Uldor and what everything they're putting together for the game and the Immutable X ecosystem. Looking forward to playing the commercial release in March.
I'll go next. Yeah, adding to that, we've got a podcast that WT and I do weekly, or try to do it weekly. D'Souza and I started it off, but D'Souza had to go back to Web 2 and money to feed his family, but he'll be back and chiming in on it, filling in and doing, like, we're going to rotate it around, so there'll be the four of us hosting that podcast. It's we get a little bit narky, if you like a little bit of drama. We're not going to hold back, and we'll tell it how it is. We love Immutable, but if something's crap, we're going to tell you it's crap. If someone's been an asshole to Immutable, we're going to tell you that they are. And if you like to hear that, then if you watch it, listen it. If you don't.
I love that. Yeah, I guess my closing thoughts are, I guess, thanks everyone for having me. Really good space, especially to get Immutable X out there. I'm a huge fan of them. I don't know if I should say this, but I will anyway, just in spite of Uldor and everything else. But I haven't released this to anyone myself, but I'm actually currently building a Web3 game. It's been about a year in the making. No one really knows about this. It is built with Unreal Engine 5. We've got 8+ devs, 40 team members. I've self-funded it. Third-person shooter, MMORPG. I'll leave it at that, but no one knows. It's never seen before tokenomics. I could go through a million things, but the next week or two I'll be announcing this. You guys are the first to hear it. But
Hit
the
me up
reason
via
I say
DM.
this, the reason why I say this is because of Immutable X is looking like somewhere where we're going to head. I have a meeting with them obviously over the next week or so. But yeah, again, I've been in crypto for 8 years, and I don't mean to hijack this a little bit, but I've seen Web3 games come and go. They pump and dump. I've seen what works, what doesn't work, and I've put all the best features of Web3 gaming in one and what I like about it. So yeah, I guess keep your eyes out, especially if we're building on Immutable X. So
Sam, I'd love to introduce you
yes.
to King, by the way. King, this is Sam.
yeah, no worries.
Yo, no, seriously, hit
Well,
me up. I'll dox myself to you. I'm dox to action. what's it called? I was an intern at Double Peak, which is already initial what's it called? I was an initial investor at IMX. So we'll talk. We'll talk. Hit me up, please.
Well, there,
That's
there,
awesome,
there
Sam.
you have it. Go ahead,
That's awesome,
Sam.
Sam.
Sorry.
We were going to ask you if you can break that. I think Wandering was going to ask you that next. Can you drop that alpha for us? But you did it without us having to ask you. So that's awesome, mate. Really
Wow.
happy. And
I did.
you're going to have to be a Gamers Galaxy 5th member now and come
Yeah.
and join our crew and be part of the brand.
I can honestly say I did not have this on my bingo card tonight for our first episode on Spaces.
Dude, sort of blindsided me completely there, but there you have it. The alpha being dropped on Gamer Galaxy's first Twitter space. Friggin' love it. I'm here for it. Glad you all you guys could have made it, and very appreciative of you all. It's a great space, and I can't wait for the next one with the DCs. And if you guys have any other thoughts, drop ahead. And
Graslo's got
then,
an invite. If
what's
you want to
that?
come up and say goodbye, Graslo's got an invite to speak. If you just notices and wants to come up and say one last word.
Oh yeah, okay, hold on.
Maybe he's in another meeting.
I don't know. There's no invite for me.
No, I've invited him. That's all right. I was just inviting him if he's still there. Probably just probably coding his game again now. All good.
Oh,
Sorry,
okay.
mate. Let's carry on.
Okay, but anyway, yeah, it's very informative space. But I thoroughly enjoyed it, and I'm glad all the listeners came down and listened to us ramble on for what was it, an hour and a half now. But yeah, the next one with Jesus and Alluvium with Kieran Warwick will be a good one. And I'd love to see you there, Sam, as well, if you'd like to jump on that one as well, because I know you're a big Alluvium fan. So yeah.
Join our Discord. It's in my bio.
Yeah, and join our Discord. So yeah, I'll see you guys all in the next one. Thank you for coming.